4500 has to have somewhat of a stock frame, somewhat of mechanical steering, and then 2 seats side by side. No IFS in any of these classes. They can run a 37-inch DOT tire as well. And then the 4600 Spider Track stock class. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Casey Gilbert off the line. 618 out of Michigan, all over the throttle. Those Nitto tires were flinging the dust. We have our drone up in the sky. Following Casey Gilbert's going to be Cade Rod. We're doing 30-second increments once again. We have our president, Ryan Thomas, with the green flag. Cade Rod getting the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take off. Cade Rod chasing down Casey Gilbert. Look how dusty it is. Up next will be position modified class. Chris May. 3, 2, 1. Dan Fresh, Savvy Off-Road, heading out. Up next will be the 725 Team Indiana May Motorsports. Chris May, he helped us put on that kids race. And Dan Fresh. We have 15 cars in the Legends, 8 cars in the Modified, and 4. 3, 2, 1. Chris May, hot on course. So that gives us 26, if I'm not mistaken. They'll be on the course at the same time, doing 3 different races. You can go to ultra4racing.com/live, and we'd have some live timing on there once they cross the 4-wheel parts finish line. Remember, Jamie McCoy did a 17-minute lap this morning, so I expect Gilbert and Rod and Fresh to be close to that. Here goes Cody St. Clair off the line, 45-61. He has a little redemption behind him today, because remember last year he caught on fire at this race, had to have a few surgeries, so he is on time in individual 100. Or looks like that's an old Trent Fab buggy. There's a great drone shot. This chassis. Six. Ford looks like won our national race, had Chris Ray riding with him. Always a force to be reckoned with in that Trent Fab buggy. So Jeremy Jones patiently awaiting, getting the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Jeremy Jones taking off, ripping that Trent Fab buggy. Up next, our first female competitor of the day, minus the girls this morning in the 170 race. Number 72, 872, is going to be Kimberly Sparrow with her husband Hunter riding. They will switch seats and switch cars for the big race. So great to see them. They're out of Colorado. Kimberly Sparrow getting the 5 count. 3, 2, 1. Kimberly Sparrow rips out, bouncing the limiter, grabbing second gear, and tearing off into the dust. Looks like Ryan Thomas is eating the dust. The wind's blowing just perfect for me, but not for him. Up next is going to be the 4878 Richard White, another Jimmy's chassis. I saw Randy Rod walking around watching his son Cade, and I'm sure Cotton Rod's back at home watching. Richard White, 3, 2, 1, on course. Golly, they're taking off with a vengeance. Up next is going to be the 417 to Justin Barth. He just finished his 4900 Can-Am UTV race, so he's doing double duty today. He debuted that Jimmy's chassis this year at the 2020 Nitto King of the Hammers race. So 417, Justin Barth out for his second race of the day. 3, 2, 1, Justin Barth spinning those Nitto tires hard. Up next, Daystar powered John Grounds. He's going to race this race, and then also, if the car's still together, he's going to try to qualify this same car in the 4400 class, because he's building a brand new Miller Motorsports chassis that he's going to race at King of the Hammer. So he's going to race the 4500 Yukon Gear and Axle class and the 4400 Limited class just to get that starting position for the King of the Hammers. So John Grounds playing double duty as well. 4570 Daystar Jeep, John Grounds. He's been racing with us for a very long time. Up next is Brian Trimpt. I believe this is his first race with us. He comes from the street racing scene. So we covered his entry fee, because again, if this is your first race with us, the first entry fee we donate to you. We cover it, and you can come play, trying to get you hooked to keep on coming back. So Brian Trimpt getting ready to take off. 896 green flag. Ryan Thomas doing an excellent job as his first time being our flag girl. He's our president of Ultra4. 4859 Evan Sherman, running in the 4800 Brannick Motorsports Legends class. Evan Sherman getting the 5 count. 4, 3, 2, 1. That was Graham on. Evan Sherman out on course. This dust is absolutely insane here. I feel bad for Ryan, but he's taking it with the strides. So 4531, Sean Rance Sr. getting ready to take in his Bronco. He's been running that Ford Bronco for a long time. Glad to see him out here racing with us still. He's an older guy, but he is having fun playing with us in the dirt. Sean Rance Sr.'s Ford Bronco is out on course. Our last 4800 Brannick Motorsports Legends class getting ready to take off. That's going to be the 4852 of, is it Richard Fenton, I believe? I don't have him on my sheet, but going by memory, I believe that's who it is. 4852 Fenton. On screen is Jonathan Terhune. We have 2 live cameras out on course, 1 live drone, 1 live camera at the start, and then also in the short course. Now we're Spider Track stock. First up is John Schaefer. So John Schaefer taking that pole position for the 4600 Spider Track stock class. We have 4 of those guys going to be racing with us today. Green flag, John Schaefer. These guys will be running 4 laps. Up next is going to be Jeeps. Tyler's running those King shocks. Remember, these have to have stock frames, 35-inch DOT legal tires, mechanical steering, and all of these started out as grocery getters. So Tyler Haggard getting ready to take the green flag. 3, 2, 1. Tyler Haggard taking the green flag. Up next is going to be the 4679 Gear Monkey Racing. Daniel May Applegate in his Jeep Cherokee. So we have John Schaefer out front, chased closely by Tyler Haggard. Next up, get the 5 count, Daniel May Applegate, the 4679 Cherokee with the American flag on the roof. Daniel May Applegate out on course. Last but certainly not least, we have Donnie Kalenbeck, the 4659, running a Jeep Comanche pickup truck. So I believe we have 26 cars about to be out on course. 3 different classes racing at the same time. So Donnie Kalenbeck getting the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Every car is live racing on course. 26 cars all out, 3 different classes. We have the 4800 Brannick Motorsports Legends class, the 4500 Yukon Gear and Axle Modified class, followed by the 4600 Spider Track Stock class. They will be scored separately, but all on the same course. This is the 2020 four-wheel parts teardown in Tennessee. But thank you for those guys for letting us race, so please support who supports the sport. And we saw a lot of carnage on that first race, so remember to finish first you must finish. So you want to drive fast, but miss those trees, miss those rocks, bring it on into the finish. The stock class is going to be running 4 6-mile loops. The 4500 Yukon Gear and Axle and the 4800 Brannick Legends class are running 6 laps. And I'm just getting a little chatter through my PCI race radio. It sounds like Cade Rod is in the lead, got around Casey Gilbert, but he's got a flat tire. So what happened to Casey Gilbert? And I don't remember if Cade Rod had a spare, but they do run the bead lock, so we'll see. There's 896 and the 4859 coming through. Remember, Jamie McCoy ran a 17-minute lap. Camera guys way remote, and we've got a camera here at the start line. We have our live drone we'll be using off and on all day, and then the four-wheel parts finish camera right by the Nitto trailer. That's where Ryan Thomas will do our finish interviews. Look how slow these guys have to go through these tight rock sections. Around if I'm not working with this Daystar Jeep. What's hanging out front? Is his winch a little loose, or is that just a strap? I can't quite. For next year's 4400 class, they'll be qualifying that same car in this next race. Unlimited Nitto 4400 big bad boys. Sounds like McCoy, number 725, is in physical second place. So what happened to Casey Gilbert? What happened to Dan Fresh? And remember, we have 3 separate races going on at the same time. There is Track Stock Class Jeep, Another savvy off-road built machine. John Schaefer. What a great day it's been thus far for the 2020 four-wheel parts teardown in Tennessee. We raced the 170 little kids this morning. They had an absolute blast. It was really cool of Ryan and Dave to put that together, along with the help of Chris May. We just got finished with the 4900 Can-Am Motorsports UTV class, and we are hot and heavy on the first lap for the four-wheel parts teardown in Tennessee for the 4800 Legends class, 4500 modified, and the 4600 stock. So there's another 4685. I believe that's Taylor Haygard. So he's still physically in second place, trying to chase down John Schaefer. The stock class does have 2 bypasses they can use just to make it a little easier on them because they got the smaller tires. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in here on site and all over the world. We know we have our huge group out in Australia and Europe, up in Canada, down in Mexico. If you're tuned in, make sure you go to ultra4racing.com. Use promo code, all capital letters, teardown20, TEARDOWN20, to get 20% off our website all weekend long. We'll close that down tomorrow evening. Roxy will get home and ship out all your swag. So do some shopping, save some money. We've got our Ultra4 Racing masks on there. We have hats, hoodies, event t-shirts. Load up, save some money, do a little Christmas shopping. So a huge shout out to the Ultra4. So it sounds like on the top of 2.0, we've got multiple cars with flat tires. So I was saying that yesterday when I took that ride on that Can-Am with Bailey Cole, that there's a lot of get-you rocks, a lot of get-you stumps. We've got a lot of flat tires out on course. And most of these guys do have co-drivers to help them swap it out. Some have spares, some don't. But it sounds like the attrition is already setting in. We heard Cade Rod was physical lead, but he still has a flat tire. So it sounds like Casey Gilbert does have a, so that's why Cade got around him, but he's got a flat tire. So got a flat. Also, this is his first race with us. His Bronco. Could this cannot see him? Just waiting to see some rigid industry lights pop through the trees. I see a car. It looks like it is Cade Rod, but I think he's got a flat tire coming into the Can-Am corner. Physical leader Cade Rod with a left rear flat. That is going to be a long day for all these racers. I hope they brought enough spares. But it looks like Cade Rod is up front. And he's got Bobby riding shotgun. It's his birthday, so a huge shout out to Bobby on his birthday for physically leading this race. We had 26 cars take the start line. Sounds like we have most of our cars still moving out on course or changing a tire, but we took 26 cars took the start line. So we have Cade Rod went through the King Shocks Chevron and limps over the Yukon gear and axle tabletop, limping along with that left rear flat. The 4600 Spider Track stock class is always a fun class to watch. We've only got 4 of them out here this weekend. So John Schaefer, Tyler Haggard, Johnny. And then we have 8 cars in the I hear car number 2 coming through the woods. He's making a lot of noise. It sounds like Casey Gilbert. So we should be seeing somebody here shortly. That's going to be Chris May, number 725. May Motorsports, part of Team Indiana. Coming. He's trying to make up some time over Cade Rod. So Chris May, where did he start? He started in 3rd position in his class, so he got around Gilbert. But on corrected time, how far is he going to be behind Cade Rod? Because remember, Cade Rod's going to come into the Progressive Insurance hot pits and change a tire. It does not look like Chris May has a flat. Looks like the King Shock Chevron starting to get burned in a little bit. They definitely have to check up, but it's starting to get a little path run through there. Getting ready to hit the Yukon gear and axle tabletop. There's a great shot of our live drone. Most of the cars are still moving out there, but I'm starting to hear a little bit of a chatter on the PCI race radio. Sounds like there may be a car or 2 having issues, as well as the multiple flats. So do you think Casey Gilbert is out in the woods changing his tire, and then he won't have to stop in the Progressive pits? Time. Cade Rod is in the Progressive pits as we speak, changing that left rear. You know, the whole Jimmy's Army will be down there. Everybody's lending a hand, got the Pro Eagle jack under there, getting everything checked out, switching out that Nitto tire and getting ready to be out on course. And as terrible it is to stop during this race, it does give the rest of the team to kind of walk around the car. I see they're shaking every corner, checking everything out, but that's just leaving time for Chris May to get him. Remember, the Progressive Insurance hot pits is a 25 mile an hour, probably a 300 to 400 yard stretch, giving all the teams enough space. So Randy Rod, the cohort behind Jimmy's 4x4, is in the mix down there, getting his son Cade Rod back out on course, but I'm starting to see some dust. I think Chris May is going to be catching him. They're going to be trying super hard to get Cade Rod back out. I see Chris May at the end of the Progressive pits doing 25 miles an hour. Is he going to stop at his pits? Actually, it looks like he might be. So Cade Rod still has a little bit of time to spend in the hot pits. That's taking a little bit longer of a tire change than I expected out of the Jimmy's Army. So they may be just checking out a few more things, not really quite sure what's going on. Nitto tires back in air. He'll do it 25. The Nitto speed. Boy Bobby in the shotgun. Cade Rod back on the throttle. Chris May now's in the Progressive Insurance pits. So Cade Rod physically in the lead. And for corrected time, I believe he's up front also. Remember, you can go to Ultra4Racing.com and check out the live tracking. We'll see what kind of time we got thrown down. I hear all sorts of horsepower. I think this is Casey Gilbert. So Cade Rod threw down a 21.06 and Chris May threw down a 21.49. So on corrected time, it is Cade Rod's race. And that is Casey Gilbert. He changed the flat tire out on course coming through Can-Am corner, opening it up on the MBRP straightaway. Casey Gilbert is hauling the mail. He's going to check up for the King Shock Chevron. There's three little, about 3-foot drop V's right there. Casey Gilbert broke him in the other night. Got stuck a couple times, but broke him in, and he's getting ready to all over the throttle, making dust with those 37-inch Nitto tires. We'll see what kind of, or how far back he is behind Cade Rod. What a great day of racing we've had thus far for the 2020 four-wheel parts teardown in Tennessee. This is our second race of the season. We kicked it off with the 2020 Nitto King of the Hammers powered by Optima Battery in early February, and what a great race it was. One of the biggest races we've ever had. I think almost the most spectators we've had, definitely the most viewing we've ever had. So good job for everybody that came out and logged into ultra4racing.com/live. So physical second place, number 725 is going to be Chris May, Mays Motorsports, part of Team Indiana. Looks like they gave a quick shakedown. Getting big thumbs up from Chris May. So Chris May physically second and on corrected time, trying to chase down Cade Rod. But remember, Casey Gilbert changed the tire out in the woods, so he's going to be on a mission. Casey Gilbert was the pole setter, and he is one fast dude. Here comes Dave Schneider in 4571 in the Trent Fab machine, heading down the MBRP straightaway, checking up for the King Shocks Chevron. A great shot of our progressive hot pits right there from our live drone. Good shot of the Nitto arch. So Dave Schneider heading into the short course, hitting the Yukon gear tabletop. He'll pass by the Amsoil Oasis. First stock class in the 4600 stock class is John Schaefer, clear of the up-down rock section. Just heard on my PCI race radio from JT Taylor, our global race director. I see another car. It is a Trent Fab. Is that Jeremy Jones? Yes, it is. The Doc is on the throttle at the MBRP straightaway. 4837 Trent Fab machine, Jeremy Jones. Somebody's pretty close to him eating some of Jeremy Jones' dust. I hear him, but I can't see him. So we have Dave Schneider in a Trent Fab and Jeremy Jones in a Trent Fab in the short course down there. That's going to be number 26 in that Ford Bronco, Dwayne Garrettson. Remember, the 45 and the 4800 class are racing together, but we're scoring them separately. So let's see. It will be Dave Schneider physically in front in the 4500 Yukon gear and axle class. And physically up front in the 4800 Brannick Motorsports class is going to be Cade Rod. Here comes Casey Gilbert through the Progressive Insurance hot pits. Looks like he got a right rear tire also. That Miller Motorsports chassis is looking good. Casey Gilbert is a Nitto athlete. I give him a thumbs up. He gives me a little wave. Casey Gilbert back on the throttle because we do hold him to 25 miles an hour for safety reasons in the hot pits. I see Dave Schneider pulling in. I believe that's Dave Schneider in that Trent Fab machine pulling in. Not sure what they're looking at the front, it looks like. Not quite sure what they got going on, but seems like most everybody has pulled into the pits. This course is absolutely brutal out there. Thank you for every track. ultra4racing.com/live. We have a lot of love over in England. We have an Ultra4 Australia race racing today also. We have some check-ins up in Canada, down in Mexico, and all over the United States. With not much racing going on lately, thank you everybody for tuning in. Get on Ultra4 Instagram, hit the hashtags. Get on King of the Hammers Facebook, hit that share button. We got Jeremy Jones with a big thumbs up, 48-37. That should put him physically in third position in that Trent Fab machine, if I'm not mistaken. Just got a check in from the one and only Jim Marsden. They're working in the shop, but they got us tuned in. He is the defending champion for the King of Britain that's coming up August 1st and 2nd. So we have Cade Rod that ran a 21.06. Chris May ran a 21.49. Casey Gilbert with a 26.46. Thumbs up from Dwayne Garrettson heading out in the 4800 Brannick Motorsports Legends class. Casey Gilbert ran a 26.46. Dave Schneider with a 25.35. Jeremy Jones with a 24.02. Dwayne Garrettson with a 25. And we have Robert Graham missing a complete tire down to the rim. Just got passed by Jonathan Terhune. So Robert Graham, his first race ever in that Ford Bronco Jimmy's chassis, had a flat tire, decided to change it, or decided not to change it. He's got a spare on the back, but he has beat that rim to death, putting that Ford Bronco Jimmy chassis to the test. So we have Jonathan Terhune down, just hit the Yukon gear and axle tabletop. What an awesome show of the infield down there from our live drone. See Jonathan top left, just cleared the Yukon gear and axle tabletop. Right, and then back up here. Middle of your screen, just below where the timing loop is for the finish line, where you saw Ryan Thomas interviewing the 4900 Can-Am Motorsports UTV winners. So again, a huge shout out to those guys. Jamie McCoy first, Scott Lesage second, and James Cantrell third. You can see our ticker at the bottom. It's Cade Rad, our physical leader with an average speed of 27. And if I remember, Jamie McCoy speed of 30 miles an hour. Those Can-Ams really haul. I see 45-17 Jesse Oliver coming through the Can corner, hitting the MBRP. Sounds like we have Robert Graham. So you can go to ultra4racing.com and see exactly what you're seeing on screen right now for the live timing. You can see everybody. You can see through. That is Richard White in that Jimmy's chassis. He's moved his way up through the field. 8100 Mike DeVore. So I see Dave Schneider just snuck in front of Jonathan Terhune in that Trent Fab. Giving a thumbs up from DSI. Dave Schneider ripping a little toot and a thumbs up. Jonathan Terhune, 890 Team Indiana, chasing Dave Schneider's dust. So again, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Ultra4racing.com/live. It's 1 o'clock Central Time now. We will be kicking off the Unlimited race right around 3:30. So in about 2.5 hours is when the big boys come out. I see Kimberly Sparrow with a left front flat. I see 4859 and Justin Barth both blow by her. She's completely stopped, can't see. So Justin Barth, and it was too dusty, I missed the one, but Justin Barth was absolutely battling it out. I think that could have been Evan Sherman. I may be mistaken, but they're going through the King Shock Chevron. where Graham is stuck, because remember, he is missing his right front wheel, so we're trying to recover him. So the yellow flag is out at the King Shock Chevron, and what that means is no passing, reduce speed because we have an issue, so let us resolve it. As soon as you pass that, it is a local yellow, not a full course, so as soon as you pass the yellow, it is wide open racing. Kimberly Sparrow is in the King Shock Chevron also, and she had a left front flat, so we're going to have 2 cars stuck. We're not sure, but she's fighting her way through it. As the Hammer King safety crew's trying to recover Graham, that Ford Bronco has a right front tire completely missing, riding only on the rim. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Ultra4racing.com/live. Get on the King of the Hammers Facebook. Hit that share button. Get on the Ultra4 Instagram and hashtag it up. It's been a long time coming, but we are back racing for our second race of this season. This is the 2024 Wheel Parts Teardown in Tennessee at the Adventure Off-Road Park. This will be the latest. John Grounds is chasing him down. DeVore coming through, heading out on lap 2. Big thumbs up. Everything's looking good. We've got a pretty spread out field going on. Let me get back to my live tracking. So we have Cade Rod, then Chris May, Casey Gilbert, Dave Schneider, Jeremy Jones, Dwayne Garrettson. Here comes Jesse Oliver, 45-17. Thumbs up from driver and co-driver and all over the throttle. As soon as you looks like Kimberly Sparrow just crossed through. She'll go to the hot pits and change a tire. She's not too far off of Evan Sherman and Justin Barth. Looks like we have a fair amount of action in the Progressive Insurance hot pits. Lots going on. Looks like we've almost got Graham's Bronco pulled out of the Chevron King Shock section. Looks like we have one guy heading our way. Is that Justin Barth? Trees out there. The attrition is starting to set in, but remember, finish first. First, you must. So a huge shout out to all our sponsors for making this happen. Nitto, Can-Am, Ford, Monster, Optima Tire, 4-Wheel Parts, and Progressive. Warren Winch, King Shocks, Amsoil, Griffin, Holly EFI, Titan Fuel Tanks, Boxo Tools, Race Radio, Laser Nut, Steal It, and MBRP. Here comes the 48-59, I believe that's Evan Sherman. 2 thumbs up, driver, co-driver. Brand new right front tire on that Jimmy's chassis. And so Jamie McCoy, you just And I just saw John Schaefer and John Grounds through. So John Schaefer physically in first position on physically and corrected time. So he's passed a lot of the 4,500 Yukon gear and axle guys, a lot of the 4,800 Brannick Motorsports Legends class guys. So John Schaefer's running a great race in that Savvy off-road Jeep. So it looks like we have Graham out of the King Chevron. So he'll be coming through with no right front tire. He'll pull into the Progressive. For jumping on board so hot and heavy this year at King of the Hammers and all season long. This is their first year with us, and we hope to build a very strong relationship throughout the future. Nitto Tire has been our sponsor for the season and King of the Hammers for the last few years. We look forward to a strong relationship with them as well. So huge shout out to Nitto Tire. Ford jumped off this year. We've had Monster Energy for a very long time. Four Wheel Parts, of course. Laser Nut builds all the trophies and is the sponsors of the Western Series. Action Sports Canopy has kept me in the shade all day long. We've got Steal It, Squatch Box, Savvy Off-Road. So here's our live tracking here on screen. So you can see it says laps, so they finished lap 1, out on lap 2. And then their best time is right next to that, and you can see Cade Rods with a 21:06. And then next to that is going to be their last time. Well, that's their last lap. But they only run one lap, so that's why those two numbers are the same so far. But you can go to Ultra4Racing.com and hit that e-time link and keep it on one of your screens at home on the laptop, and then Ultra4Racing.com on the big screen back at home. Watch this in your recliner. Enjoy a few frosty beverages. So we've got the number 896 coming through. That's Brian Trimp. I believe this is his first race with us. He's one of those that's out into the Can-Am corner. Going to open it up on the MBRP straightaway. 45-31, Sean Rance Sr. We saw John Rance earlier running the 4900 Can-Am UTV class earlier. So a father and son racing both classes, really cool to see. It's a hot one today. It was even hotter yesterday, but we're right around 90 degrees, very high humidity, a little bit of wind all weekend long. I was dreading it. The racers were dreading it. There was 50-60% chances of rain, but so far so good. Lots of blue sky, but the clouds are starting to rain on the big boys. Time will tell. There's a great shot of In the Woods. No cars on course right there yet, but just look at those rocks. Look at those trees. Distance there. That could be Justin Barth. Can't quite tell from this angle. I see Cade Rod coming in to finish his second lap. All four tires up this time. This is going to be a fast lap. 48.07. Jimmy's Army, Cade Rod. So Cade Rod is physically in the lead, and on screen, yes, as soon as I say it, it breaks up just a tick. But I'm pretty sure that was Justin Barth on screen. Remember, we're shooting our own internet off our own satellite dish, running 4 different modems or something like that. The Hammer King production crew pulls off some amazing stuff for being out here in the middle of nowhere. I know and let all your friends and family know how cool this is. Because like I said, there's not a lot of racing going on right now, but Ultra4 was able to pull it off. Helped put this on is MBRP off the grid clothes. I wear a lot of their stuff, and then new speed trap, Savvy Off-Road, and Sean Rance Sr. as he heads out for his second lap. So I see Cade Rod's in the hot pits, so that means we'll have a time for him. I'll pull that up as we speak. So Cade Rod Jeremy Jones in that Trent Fab machine. Yes, it is. He's going to get Can-Am corner and open it up on the MBRP straightaway. He'll have to do a little checkup before he gets the King Stock Chevron. Change tire. Her and her husband, Hunter. Hunter's riding shotgun. Kimberly's driving this race, and then the next race they'll swap seats, swap cars, and go back out on course. Looks like a little transfer case issue for Kimberly. They're beating the transfer case back in. Thumbs up from Kimberly and Hunter. Husband-wife combo. Out on their second lap. There's another great shot out in the woods. Looks like that is Chris May. Yes, it is. Number 725, Chris May, making his way through this little tight section. Lots of big rocks, lots of off-camber angles. So I don't think I missed Casey Gilbert. Where's he at? He wasn't too far off pace behind Cade Rod and Chris May, but they're starting to pull away. Looks like Jeremy Jones will be heading out, so that'll put him, if I'm not mistaken, physically in third position and on corrected time as of now. Remember, they started in 30-second increments, and this race is on corrected time. So the Doc, Jeremy Jones, heading back out on his second lap. Big thumbs up. 48.37, Jeremy Jones in that Trent Fab machine. And we also have the race promotion. So if you finish all 4 races, we give you $1 per mile of each race. So King of the Hammers was 212 miles. So there's $212. Depends on how many laps you make in here. You know, it could be 36, could be 24, could be up to around $40. So it'll be between $400 and $500 and a nice little trophy from LaserNut at the end of the year if you can finish every single race and every single mile and just bragging rights, because that's a lot of racing. So cool for Hammer King to come up with that this year. That's something new. Speaking of new, we also have the Ultra4 Garage. We'll have that featured on our YouTube and Instagram. So if you have any new builds or anything cool you're changing up on your buggy, get a hold of Neil at ultra4racing.com with your ideas and send him a quick message, and you guys can connect with there. Also new is the 20 Bronco. No, if you're tuned into this, Those things are going to be cool. I hope to end up with one of those after a while. Maybe I can put the wife in it so she can go get some groceries. But Ford has came in strong this year, and we're hoping to keep them around for a while. He must have a flat, maybe? Nope. Can't quite tell. He may have a right rear flat. Those rocks and those trees back in those 6 mile loop is brutal. Remember, to finish first you must finish. So you want to drive hard, but drive smart. We started this race with 26 cars, and the attrition is already setting in. Dwayne Garrettson getting ready to drop into the Yukon gear and axle tabletop and then hit the short course, and we'll get a time for him. So
battery on my radio is going to die, so if you guys need me, you got to call or text me on my phone.
So we're watching on screen. That is, we got one walking. I'm not sure who that was, but Dwayne Garrettson, number 26 of that Ford Bronco Jimmy's chassis, getting ready to cross the 4-wheel parts tracking timing loop where the finish will be at the end of the race. Remember, they have 6 laps. He is just finishing lap 2. I hear a Trent Fab. Yes, it is. That's Dave Schneider driving Dustin Friesen's Trent Fab machine. We're excited to have VP Racing Fuels on site for this race and the rest of the season, and they signed a contract. They will be at the 2021 Nitto King of the Hammers. So if you're a racer, don't worry about bringing your fuel. They'll bring it to you here on site, so you don't have to worry about all the extra weight, all the extra hassle with dealing with it. Show up, they'll bring it to you, drop it off at your pit, and you're ready to race. We will finish out the year with the Jamboree-style San Felipe fun run over Thanksgiving weekend. So be sure, if you're available, come down there, eat some tacos, mingle with the big names, and do a little trail run with us. There's a great shot of one of our camera guys walking around back in the woods showing you how rough this course really is. It's a big course. It's a long course. It's a gnarly course. Here comes Casey Gilbert. It took him a little bit, but I'm not sure what happened. But Casey Gilbert, 618, whatever issue he had, it is not affecting him right now. He opens it up on the MBRP straight section, getting ready to check up for the King Shocks chevrons. Casey Gilbert, when that car's running good, he flies that thing. And he's going to have his buddy Casey Ryan run that same machine during the 4400 class. He's going to slap on some 40s and let him rip. But he does have a little disadvantage because he can only run a single shock per corner to make the Legends, so they don't have enough time to put on the extra shock. So he'll be a little disadvantaged, but in these tight woods, that car really works well. So here comes Dave Schneider getting the thumbs up. And Dustin Friesen's Trent Fab Machines back out on course, heading out for lap 2. So does that put him in the lead for the 4,500 Yukon Gear and Axle class? I believe so. So Dwayne Garrettson puts on a right rear tire. The Ford Bronco Jimmy's chassis back out on track. So Dave Schneider, I believe, is our physical leader for the 4,500 Yukon Gear and Axle class. Casey Gilbert just crossed the line, so he will be physically in, I think, 5th position. So physically it's Cade Rod, Chris May, Jeremy Jones, Dwayne Garrettson, Casey Gilbert in the 4,800 Brannick Motorsports Legends class, and then it's only Dave Schneider in the 4,500 Yukon Gear and Axle modified class. And then first in class for the 4,600 Spider Track stock class is John Schaefer, and then Donnie Kalenbeck. Remember, the 4,600 Spider Track stock class does have 2 bypasses, so that's why they're getting a little bit faster than some of the other guys, but don't cut them any slack. I ran this course in a Can-Am the other day, and it was tough in it. So to take a stock car with only 35-inch tires, they're doing a great job out there. The stock class will be running 6 laps, and then the 4,400 Nitto Unlimited class will run 8 laps of 6 miles apiece. So roughly 40 miles, wide open racing. So it looks like Casey Gilbert's doing the 25-mile-an-hour speed limit through the Progressive Insurance hot pits. Giving the big thumbs up from Scott Decker and Casey Gilbert. And it's pretty cool to see because I'm looking right at him. I get pretty close to the course, and you can see the little zone. Through the woods, who's it going to be? It's going to be a big car. I see some Rigid Industry lights shining through. That's going to be, is that Justin Barth? Yes, it is. 417 Justin Barth in that brand new Jimmy's chassis, running the Nitto tires. He's having a great day. He finished I'm going to say top 10 for sure in the 4,900 Can-Am Motorsports UTV class this morning, and then hopped right into his 4,800 Brannick Motorsports Legends class, and he's having a good day out there. Justin Barth comes out of Springfield, Missouri, not too far from myself. This year we're not doing an East versus West because we're having a shorter season than normal. So we have 4 races: the King of the Hammers, the AOP race, the Laser Nut Western race, and then the Nitto Nationals. So you pick any of your 3. It has to be the Nationals. You can drop KOH this year, unlike previous years. And whoever has the most points out of your 3 choice races will win the national championship. That will divvy up after the race in Oklahoma at the Crossbar Ranch. Here comes Jonathan Terhune out of the woods, number 809, Team Indiana. It's getting dusty. 4859, is that Evan Sherman? Yes, it is. Very similar car to Justin Barth, Jimmy's chassis. Right on Terhune's bumper. There is action out here. We got lots of people coming through, lots of camera guys out on course. So be sure to hashtag, share all the good stuff on social media. Blow this up. So that's Jesse Oliver, the 4517. 4,500 Yukon gear and axle class. Looks like I see somebody stuck in the King Shocks little speed bump area. We got another guy stuck in the King Shock Chevron. Is that Evan Sherman? I'm not sure. There's been quite a few cars that came through there. It looks like the passenger's crawling out. We'll get the Hammer King safety crew over there and get them pulled out. Race leader had to go through the King Shock Chevron under. Cautious, be safe. He gets through there, and Cade Rod's really running his own race. Looks like we have a couple cars in the Progressive Insurance hot pits. Looks like I see Jonathan Terhune back there. This could be Mike DeVore, I believe, number 8100. Speed limit for this 300-yard Progressive Insurance hot pit. So Mike DeVore, big thumbs up. 890, Jonathan Terhune, Team Indiana. Some dust. It is dusty out there today. On course, that is your physical. Is that hey, remember, I used to race, and that, you know, but it looks like Cade Rod's probably running at that 80-90%. To run 100%, you got to see dust, you got to taste it. But he's running his own race right now. Cade Rod's looking like he's having a very comfortable day out there. Other than being a little hot, a little dusty, Cade Rod's having a fun day. He's got his buddy riding shotgun with him, Bobby, and it's his birthday. So happy. Looks like coming up the Progressive Insurance hot pits is Evan Sherman, I believe. He got hung up in the King Shock Chevron, but got yanked out and back out on course. That's another fairly new Jimmy's chassis. Getting thumbs up from both driver and co-driver. 48.59, hitting the throttle as soon as he touched the Nitto arch. Great shot of Dave Schneider going up. You can see how tight it is. He had to hit the rock with the right front, and then the left rear hit a tree. So it's just, you got to be smooth. You got to run your race and be gentle. Those rocks and those trees will bite you. They'll kill a tire. Dwayne Garrettson's right behind him in that Ford Bronco Jimmy chassis. Dave Schneider's in the Trent Fab machine. But Dwayne Garrettson, number 26, that Ford Bronco Jimmy chassis looking good. He's about to finish his third lap in that savvy off-road built Jeep. John Schaefer is running a great race. He's fairly local. He's out of the Alabama area. So good job to John. 0 all capital and get 20. So if you're here on site or back at home, mask, get a hoodie, do a little early Christmas shopping. So that's our bet to you. Thank you for tuning in. And a huge shout out to our main sponsors. We have Nitto, we have Progressive Insurance, Ford, Can-Am, Monster Energy, and Optima, just to name a few. Without those guys, we would not be out here racing today, would not be bringing you a live show. So please support who supports the sport. The wind's picking up. We'll see. Range. Guy in the mud. We're roughly halfway through. Yeah, it's probably your service also.
Yeah. I got north of time up here. I get full service, but it's rain moved in. Let it rain, huh?
What a great day of racing we've had thus far for the 2020 four-wheel parts teardown in Tennessee. There is a great shot. That could be Justin Barth once again, the 417 Jimmy. He's having a good day trying to chase down the leaders. But up front all day long has been Cade Rod. He got around Casey Gilbert. Change it quick and keep him. Rod with a great run today. Our next race will be our Western race, the Laser Nut Rumble in Reno, and that'll be followed up by the 2020 Nitto National Championship held in Davis, Oklahoma at the Crossbar Ranch. That is a super fun course. We've raced there the last couple years. Looks like John Schaefer is in the Savvy pits, getting everything chained out. He'll be heading out on his third lap out of 4. The Savvy Jeep's looking good. They did a quick little get down, but John Schaefer is having an awesome day. All 4 thumbs up from those guys, all smiles. John Schaefer, the leader of the 4600 Spider Track stock class. He's having a great day as well. I hear some sirens in the woods, so we got somebody chasing somebody, and we're going to have some action coming in to the Can-Am corner. Remember, there's not a whole lot of passing back in the woods. There's a lot of single tracks, so he's been following them for a while, saying, hey, once we get in this MBRP straight action, I'm going to be all over the throttle. So if you don't want to if you don't want to be in the way, get out of the way. It is Tim Hooper and Chris May, but Tim Hooper's flinging up the dust, so Chris May has to check up a little bit, just can't see where he's going on the MBRP straightaway. There he goes, gets a little clean air, gets back on the throttle as Tim Hooper checks up for the King Shocks Chevron. There's a great shot of Donnie Kalenbach in the 4659 Spider Track stock class. I know it's a little glitchy, but remember, we got cameras out in the middle of the woods, then we're beaming that back to our home station, a satellite dish up in the air. We got 4 modems running it, so the Hammer King production crew is doing an absolute amazing job. You know, like I said, glitches are going to happen, but these guys make it happen. So a huge shout out to Travis, Dan, and the boys. And then Take It Live shoots it to you guys. It takes an army to put this on. There's so much behind the scenes. I get the easy part of rambling on to you guys. Not going to call it easy, but watching them guys work is an absolute crazy thing they can make happen. We are right in the middle of the 4-wheel parts teardown in Tennessee. There's a great shot of Jeremy Hooper in the infield, hitting that huge kicker, getting ready to hit the 4-wheel parts. Hey. Long. It's going to be an awesome, fun tire class. Current 10th thumb opening up that Trent Fab machine, but you can never count camels. Is a high hope for this weekend's race. The straight axle guys love the tight woods like Blyler, Miller, West, but the West Coast guys with the IFS, they don't care. They're still coming for it, and you can't count out Levi Shirley. He's in a single seat IFS Campbell car. He's a little bit narrower than the newer Campbell cars, has lots of visibility. I was talking to Waylon about it. He's like, I'm a little jealous of Levi in that. Feels like my new car runs better. So we start girls and fun little race for those guys. Trent won it this morning, and we followed that up with a 4900 Can-Am Motorsports UTV class. Unofficially top of the box was Jamie McCoy, then second Scott Lesage, and rounding out the podium was James Cantrell. So a huge shout out to those guys. But right now it is a 4800 Brannick Motorsports Legends class. Out front, Cade Rod. 4500 Yukon Gear and Axle class. That's going to be Dave Schneider. The 4600 Spider Track Stock class is John Schaefer. And then 4800 class, second place is Tim Hooper, followed closely by Chris May. Chris May's coming towards me in the Progressive Insurance hot pits. He took a quick little check. Everybody's looking good. Got the big thumbs up from Chris May. Back on the throttle, 725 Chris May, May Motorsports, Team Indiana, trying to chase down Jeremy Jones and Cade Rod. There's 3 separate races going on at the same time, so I'm mentally trying to organize it up there. I'm doing the best I can. I apologize if I make a few mistakes, but I'm doing my best. Again, I'm Miles Hasselquist. I'll be with you all afternoon and all season long. Thank you to all the fans, all the friends, all the racers. I'm having a blast. I hope you guys are also. You can see the Nitto Arch. I'm just to the left of that. So we'll got a little lull in the action, so I'm going to give our sponsors some more love. And actually, while we do that, we might be able to throw in a quick commercial.
So, you know, we're about a month into when we first shut down our factories. And in the last 30 days, we started with nothing but ideas to help combat the coronavirus. And now we've grown to multiple efforts that include making ventilators with GE Healthcare at our Rossingville factory. We're making powered air purifying respirators at our Vreeland facility. It's in our DNA. If you go back to World War II, you know, we built more than 270. And it's been something that's been an honor to actually help make a difference as quickly as possible here in the fight against the coronavirus.
We had to pay a couple bills there. Thank you for all our sponsors allowing us to race this weekend. This is the 4-Wheel Parts Teardown in Tennessee. So that after this, having a great run today through this race. So we have an Ultra4 race going on in Australia as we speak. And they have another race just outside of Brisbane in September. The Europeans will be racing the King of Britain, and Jim Marsden will be defending his title once again of King of Britain. So we have racing all over the world going on. It's a great shot of Kimberly Sparrow as I was rambling on. She's got a long day ahead of her. They're doing double duty in the 4800 Legends, Brannick Motorsports Legends class, as well as they'll be racing the 4400 car with Hunter driving. Kimberly is our first female driver of the day, other than the little gals this morning. The Progressive Insurance hot pits have been busy today. It's been a tire-frying place. Lots of rocks, lots of stumps, lots of trees. I think every car that's came through has changed at least one tire today. So if my timing's correct, we should see Cade Rod coming through here shortly, as long as everything is going smooth. But remember, it's 6 gnarly miles out there in the woods. So to the south of it, it's still blue and sunny, but the north is getting a little darker, so it looks like there is a chance of rain. They've been calling for it all weekend long. Is it going to happen or not? It's looking very possible. But time will tell. It's looked like this almost every single day and has rained all around us. Is today the day? I sure hope not. It has cooled down about 10 degrees in the last half hour, so you know what that means. There's a good chance of it. We could take a couple sprinkles, wouldn't hurt my Jimmy Jack and Amy. They've been racing with us quite a bit, but they didn't make the venture out east. But Hunter and Kimberly have a great race going. Lots of chatter through my PCI race radio from Race Ops. Hammer King safety full. Recovering all these screws, getting ready for our 3:30 departure of the 2020 4-Wheel Parts Teardown in Tennessee for the 4400 Nitto Unlimited class. I hear somebody coming through. It doesn't sound like Cade Rod. No, that is Dave Schneider, our leader in the 45. Up for the building. I know Lauren Healy if it rained, so they're the weather that's rolling in, but we'll see. Just a little bit, which is kind of nice. Not a lot. Coming out of the woods is going to be 26 in his Ford Bronco, Dwayne Garrettson. Believe he'll be finishing his 4th lap. So that may put him into top 5, I'm sure. Remember, everything I say is unofficial until we dot our I's, cross our T's. Clouds rolling in. I just checked my weather app, and it looks like it's clear, so we'll see what happens. But, hey, this is unlimited off-road racing, so if it rains, we're going to get muddy. Here comes Casey Gilbert, number 618, ripping that brand new Texas Speed motor. And that car will be doing double duty this afternoon. He'll be racing the next class also. Slap a pair of Nitto 40s on it and ready to rock and roll, driven by Casey Ryan. And our race leader, Cade Rod, coming through with another left front flat. This is a brutal, brutal course. So you know the big boys are watching the pits as these guys are racing and seeing all the flat tires are changing. So they're going to do some strategy for sure. Here comes Dave Schneider. I believe he's leading the Yukon Gear and Axle Modified class. He's giving me the point. He is on fire. Dave Schneider is in a good mood, ripping that Trent Fab buggy back into that 6-mile loop. On screen is in that Ford Bronco was Dwayne Garrettson. Look how dusty. Look, Ma, no hands. Dwayne Garrettson coming through in his Ford Bronco, having a little fun with me. That Jimmy's chassis still looks good, all 4 tires full of air, and he dusted me out a little bit. It was blowing, just died down. This is lingering. Wind is a racer's friend, and this is not cooperating. Sean Rance Sr. coming through the Can-Am corner, heading down the MBRP straightaway. And it is a dusty, dusty spot here at the Nitto start. The clouds are building. The dust is looming. It's going to make for an interesting afternoon. Casey Gilbert heading back out. He was doing a little adjustment. Steering with his knee, drops the visor, gives me a thumbs up, and tears back out. So Cade Rod starting lap 5. Cade Rod, the only person out on lap 5 out of 6. So this should be about timed out right. So sorry, I got corrected on my PCI race radio. Cade Rod just finished his 5th lap, so he is out on his 6th and 5th lap. He got the white flag. So we'll have Ryan Thomas go have a chat with him here roughly 22 to 25 minutes. Well, it's going to be a little bit longer than that because he's going to have to come to the hot pits and change a tire. He came through with a flat. So it'll probably be roughly 25 minutes before we see him. Well, as soon as he passes me, it'll be that 22 to 23 minutes, I think. Cade Rod is driving an awesome race today. That's even with 2 flats, but who hasn't had a flat? I hear some noise coming from the woods. Who's it going to be popping out? Getting ready to hit the Can-Am corner? Looks like Jesse Oliver in the 45-17. That might put him in second position if I'm not mistaken. So Jesse Oliver running a great race today. He's being chased closely by, could that be Justin Barth? Through the dust, I can't tell. Justin Barth trying to chase down Oliver. Remember, they are in 2 separate classes, so Justin's got to put saying, hey, him. So doesn't want to make a silly mistake in the dust. And then right behind him is Evan Sherman, the 48-59. Looks like he could have a flat tire, or he just can't see. That's more likely the issue. Cade Rod coming through, our physical leader, out for his 6th and final lap. Cade Rod going for the win, 48.07. Jimmy's Army running his Jimmy's chassis. Cade Rod heading towards keep it together. It is Cade Rod's race to lose. We'll see him hopefully in less than 25 minutes. We'll send Ryan Thomas, our Ultra4 president, down to the finish line at the 4-Wheel Parts finish line. Just remember? There is Justin Barth on screen. Cleared the Yukon gear and axle. There is Dave Schneider, our current leader, if I'm not mistaken, in the 4500 Yukon gear and axle modified class in his Trent Fab machine. Dave's had a great race under his belt today. That is Dustin Friesen's car. He's kind of in a rental this weekend. I believe he still has a car, but he just recently sold the car Bailey Cole ran last year in the Legends class. Getting a little chatter through my PCI race radio. It sounds like 4570 John Grounds is out of the race, so tough break for him. He's calling for recovery. So tough break for John Grounds. Remember, he was hoping to race that machine in the 4400 class as well. Looks like I see Jesse Oliver and Justin Barth heading into the Progressive Hot Pits. On another lap is Jesse Oliver, 45-17. Big thumbs up. 45-17, Jesse Oliver heading out for another lap. I believe he's in physical second position, but remember this is on corrected time. They left the line in 30-second increments. Sounds like the 88 Dan Fresh is out of the race as well, so tough break for him. We got Jonathan Terhune, it looks like, 890, getting ready to head out for another lap. Team Indiana, Big thumbs up, a little bit of horns. Jonathan Terhune having fun today for the 2020 four-wheel parts teardown in Tennessee. Here comes Jeremy Jones, 4837 in his Trent Fab machine, so I believe that'll put him in physical second position. In the 4800 Brannick Motorsports Legends class, it's getting pretty dusty, so I got to look everywhere, try to stay out of it. Justin Barth, 417 coming through. Chris May is hot on Jeremy Jones' tail, so it's going to be a close race between Chris May and Jeremy Jones. But Jeremy Jones started probably 3 to 4 minutes behind Chris May, so Jeremy Jones does have second place locked down if he can hold out another lap. But remember, it's another lap. To finish first you must finish. And we've seen so many guys begin going fast and catch a flat tire. And the dust is absolutely miserable right now. I can't see 100 feet down the Progressive Hot Pits right now. You can see that camera, that's the infield down there. You can't even see a car except for the broken down one. There's Jeremy Jones, physical second and on corrected time, I believe. Really running hard, carried that right rear. Gonna hit the donkey kick, there he is. Head out for his sixth and final lap, if I'm not mistaken. So 48:37, Jeremy Jones running a smooth race, but he's got Chris May breathing down his neck. Is he going to stop in the Progressive Insurance Hot Pits and let Chris May catch him? So I can see Jeremy Jones. It looks like he's going to be coming into the pits. His pit crew's out there. Looks like everybody's getting a thumbs up. Nope. Jeremy Jones is going for second place. Jeremy Jones comfortably in second position. Big thumbs up. And it sounds like on my PCI race radio, it's starting to sprinkle up in the woods. Oh, I just caught a couple. It is officially barely sprinkling, which I'm okay with a good sprinkle. Knock down some of this dust. But at worst case, I'm going to get underneath my Action Sports canopy and I hide from it. So Chris May is less than a minute behind Jeremy Jones, but on corrected time, Jeremy's good. Chris May making his debut in the 4800 Brannick Motorsports Legends class. He just stepped down from the Unlimited class. So there's Sean Rance Sr. on screen in that Ford Bronco, and it is starting to rain. It's not a hard rain, but there are big drops that are coming down, but it's not a hard rain yet. And like I said, I'm okay with a little bit of rain, but a lot of rain is going to change this course tremendously. And you know the Rufus guys are down there doing their happy dance after their little rain dance last night they had. This could be Evan Sherman. I can't quite tell, but somebody's got two brand new tires on. I can see the sticker still on them. Yes, that's the 4859 Evan Sherman. Two brand new tires on, both thumbs up. They're running that brand new Jimmy's chassis well. Jones is on his last lap. That is I believe. No, I believe and I know. Hey, the tracker's not working. I don't know. I figured that much. As far as we can tell, they just went on to lap 5. So the rain has set in. I still see blue sky to the south of us, but it is moving south. The black clouds are starting to run in. But like I said, a little bit of rain would be really nice. If it's an absolute downpour, it's going to be a muddy mess out in those woods because there's a lot of long, steep hill climbs. Everybody's taking a little bit of cover. I'm underneath my Action Sports canopy. It's starting to pick up a little bit. This is going to be an interesting afternoon of racing. Our poor camera guys are stuck out in the rain and with not much cover, and it turned into a light rain to a pretty heavy rain. It's not a downpour, but it's a heavy rain as we speak. And Cade Rod's out there in the elements trying to win his race. Same with Dave Schneider and John Schaefer in his class. And it went from a heavy rain to a pretty good downpour. Everybody's scattering, getting out their umbrellas, getting out their Action Sports canopy, and dust won't be an issue anymore today. You know a lot of the big guys are bumming out right now. But like I said, the heat's dropped tremendously, so that's not hurting my feelings. But remember, this is unlimited off-road racing, so we are going to make it happen regardless. It's been absolutely dusty and dry this entire week, even though it was a chance of rain this entire race. But right before the big guys start and the limited classes finish, a rainstorm comes in. We'll see how long it lasts. There's a pretty good cloud coming from the north. So this could last a little while. And Ford flags, so because they were getting a pretty good beating with all that dust. I see John Schaefer coming through, our physical leader in the 4600 Spider Track stock class. This is Miles. Are we on our last lap? I'm watching the tracker, and I do not believe we are. I heard Rachel saying yes. So we have the number 896 heading out, playing in the rain, all smiles. I believe that's the new guy. Yes, that's Brian Trimp, the road racer out here playing in the mud. He's not used to this because road racing most of the time, when it starts raining, they pull off. But they're out here playing, all smiles, all thumbs up. Like I said, it's got to help with the dust tremendous, but we'll see how sloppy it is. It does get back in the woods. So just getting a little confirmation through my PCI race radio, I was incorrect. Cade Rod is not on his last lap yet, so he will get the white flag next time coming through, so I do apologize for that. I was getting a little mixed information, but I just confirmed with Race Ops. Cade Rod is on his 5th lap, so next time through it will be the white flag. So again, I do apologize, but I'm doing the best I can to keep everything honest. So there's John Schaefer on screen, our physical leader for the 4600 Spider Track stock class. I believe he is going out on his 4th and final lap.
Get it, Micah. What do you got? Beers? Have you got any
Yes,
beers?
confirmed. John Schaefer is on his 4th and final lap. Looks like he dove into the... No, he is just now getting into the Progressive Insurance hot pit, so we'll see if he comes in or just goes out for the win. The rain has lightened up just a tick, but it's still raining down here. The dust has died down. So out front in the 4800 Brannick Motorsports Legends class, first place is Cade Rod, second place Jeremy Jones, third place Chris May, and then we'll drop back to the 4500 Yukon Gear and Axle modified classes. Dave Schneider, Dwayne Garrettson, and then Jesse Oliver. Up front is going to be John Schaefer. Just got a big thumbs up from him. He is out on his 4th and final lap in that Savvy off-road built Jeep. John Schaefer going for the win. I haven't seen another stock class guy come through. And if I'm mistaken, I haven't seen Tyler Haygard or Daniel May Applegate yet. So it's going to be a battle between John Schaefer and Donnie Kallenbeck for the 4600 Spider Truck stock class. So again, thank you everybody for tuning in all weekend long, all day long. This is Ultra4Racing.com/live. This is the 2024 Wheel Parts Teardown in Tennessee. A personal thanks from me and the entire Ultra4 team for tuning in. I know there hasn't been a lot of racing action going on here lately, so hopefully you guys are having just as much fun as we are. You can see on screen it is still raining. Just a steady rain as of now. If it could lighten up any time, I'd appreciate it. And I know the next class will too, but it's knocked down the dust. That's not hurting my feelings. Just getting a little information. This rain really slicked up the track out there. Cade Rod's just radioed back over PCI radio that it is slick out in the woods. So we'll see what happens. We have the 4878 coming through. Both thumbs up. That's Richard White and his Jimmy's chassis running a clean run. And like I said, no more dust, which doesn't hurt my feelings, but it's going to make for an interesting afternoon of racing. So Cade Rod still battling it out there, trying to hold off Jeremy Jones and Chris May. It's going to make for an interesting afternoon. And we still have the biggest, baddest guys in our sport, the 4400 Nitto Unlimited class, yet to come. We have 4 kings that are going to be racing with us. The current king, Josh Blyler, is sitting on the pole. And then we have 3-time king and legend of the sport, Off-Road Hall of Famer Shannon Campbell. We have 2-time king Lauren Healy and 2-time king Eric Miller out there in the field, along with a lot of fast other guys. There's Daniel May Applegate right there. It looks like walking out, so he's going to leave his Jeep out there. So tough break for him. That's why we didn't see him, but he definitely called the race. So he's hiking back on foot through the rain. Never a good sight to see. Remember, there is no outside assistance other than the Hammer King safety crew and in the Progressive Insurance hot pits. So they must have broke something enough that it just it fixed. Oh, and that was our camera guy. Must be pretty close because I see him coming out of the woods as we speak. Remember, it's a 6-mile loop, so they could have walked a couple miles to get back here. I'm not sure where they broke down. They hear some so they get safe. Definitely not coming through at a blazing speed like they have, so it must be super slick out there. And this is Kimberly Sparrow, number 872. And you can see her just through that little action that, yeah, the tires are spinning hard. So Kimberly Sparrow with her hunting shotgun, still moving strong. And they will switch cars, switch seats, and run the Unlimited race coming up at 3:30. So that's roughly in 1 hour we'll be sending out the big boys. So we're still waiting to see Cade Rod come through. So lots of cars out there. The attrition is definitely starting to set in. It's getting to be a rough course out there, it looks like. And I see Daniel May Applegate coming up here, so I'll grab a chat with him. Why aren't you in your car, buddy?
We were running a great race. Connor and I were on a great pace, and something about, I don't know, half a mile from the finishing the first lap here, just like on the, I don't know if it's in the motor, or if it's in the clutch or what, so it just, that's all she wrote. We couldn't get her started again. We checked everything. We thought we lost a belt, but it wasn't. It was something deeper.
Well, tough break. I know you came a long ways to race here, but thanks for coming out. It's a lot of fun. And just on your way back, how slick's that course getting?
Oh, it's getting really nasty. We were just talking about it that if we were still running that first rock garden, 4600 would definitely be struggling through it. But I just want to say thanks to everybody. Thanks to my family. Thanks to Ultra4 and everybody out here. Thanks to you, Miles. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Daniel. We'll see you at the next race, buddy.
Thanks. Thank you.
And there comes Casey Gilbert, the slick. He is all over the throttle in the MBRP straight rhythm section. Slowing down for the King Shock Chevron. I'll venture out in the rain a little bit, see how, if it's getting a little rougher to get through, but it's getting pretty burned in. I'm not going to say he's struggling, but he's definitely taking his time, because what you don't want to do is drop the front end and spin it back hard, because that's when you'll just drop in and get stuck. So on screen, that's Kimberly Sparrow. Still kicking up a lot of dust. That just shows you how bad that course really was. There's Casey Gilbert chasing Kimberly down, hitting the Yukon Gear and Axle tabletop as we speak. So that should put Casey Gilbert physically in 4th position. So that's, I wouldn't be scared of that, because it's still Cade Rod, Jeremy Jones, and Chris May. With it being as slick as it is, it's easy to make a mistake out there. So Casey Gilbert just needs to keep his momentum going and try to limp onto the box. So we have Kimberly and Hunter coming through. Number 872, the car looks pretty good. Getting big thumbs up from both of them. They're cruising through. Heading out for another lap. The rain has lightened up just a tick. It's just now a nice steady rain. We had some big drops there for a little bit, but it was getting extremely dusty, so a little bit of rain doesn't hurt my feelings, but I do feel bad for the guys that are out on course as we speak. We'll see how long this rain sticks with us. So I just checked my radar, and it looks like we're right in the middle of a pretty decent little cell, but it looks like it could let up here, and there's spotted showers everywhere, but big thumbs up from Casey Gilbert, 612 Nitto athlete, heading back out. But yeah, just check the radar here, which you guys can do also, but here's Donnie Callenbach coming out, so he's physically in second. Sounds like it's not running quite right, so he's having some issues with his motor, but he's still limping along with Daniel May Applegate out and Tyler Haygard. If he's made over half his laps, so I think he could call it quits and go with a second place finish if he's not comfortable going out, especially as slick as it's gotten. But anyways, it looks like there's spotty showers all over, but I really hope we're about 20 to 30 minutes from being out of this little rainstorm. So if that plays a factor into it, it'll set up absolutely perfect race for the 4400 Nitto Unlimited class. This is the 2024 Wheel Parts Teardown in Tennessee. We're in just outside of South Pittsburgh, Tennessee. Smack dab middle between Nashville, Knoxville, Birmingham, Alabama, and Atlanta, Georgia. Out in the hills of southern Tennessee. It's a beautiful park here at the Adventure Off-Road Park. They're open year-round every weekend. And if you want to come out Monday through Wednesday, they have an honor system. Was that Dwayne? No, that's Casey Gilbert. I missed it. I'm sorry. Coming through screen. So I was right the first time. That's Dwayne Garrettson, number 26, in his Ford Bronco. That was just on screen. Right behind him was Dave Schneider, our leader in the 4500 race. And here comes Cade Rod. He'll be getting the white flag. All four tires holding up, but everybody's not running quite as hard as they were. Looks like Cade may have a right front flat. Sure does. And he was just saying it's slick out there, so on some of those side hills, you're probably sliding down, and he must have caught either a rock or a tree and smoked another tire. There's been a lot of flat tires in today's racing. That was Donnie Callenbach limping over the Yukon gear and axle tabletop, followed by Dwayne Garrettson and the Ford Bronco. Donnie Callenbach has a motor issue. Not sure what's going on. He's able to run, but it sounds like he's at quarter throttle, and it's just spitting and sputtering. So Dwayne Garrettson quickly gets around him, followed closely by Dave Schneider. Dave Schneider's maybe going for the pass on the infield. But it's going to be interesting because it was super dry, and now it's wet, so that little top layer could be slick. So if you push in a little tight, you could get a little loose. Dave Schneider goes for the pass. Remember, they are in separate classes. There's Cade Rod, our current race leader, physically and on corrected time. But like I said, I think he's got a right front flat. Great shot. Dave Schneider in that Trent Fab machine, followed closely by Dwayne Garrettson in that Ford Bronco Jimmy's chassis. So Dave Schneider heading out for another lap. There's Dwayne Garrettson with a left front flat. So that's why he was limping along. So Cade Rod getting the white flag, heading out for his sixth and final lap.
Nice courtesy wave.
But he'll be coming in the progressive hot pits. Still just a nice steady rain. So we'll get Cade Rod in the Progressive Insurance hot pit so he can change a tire, and he is our physical leader. He's got the Jimmy's Army out there changing the tire. You know the trails out there are super slick. There looks like Dave Schneider's pulling a hood. Not sure what's going on there. Looks like the right front, they're having to beat that wheel off of Cade Rod's machine. Co-driver's getting out. Not sure what's going on. They got plenty of help there. They do get the right front off. What's the co-driver looking at? Because that takes a little bit of time to get him back in the car. So that's Donnie Kellen. 69 still winning. So Dwayne Garrettson changes another flat tire like the rest of the crew. Number 26 in that Ford Bronco, heading out for another lap. Big thumbs up from Dwayne Garrettson, number 26 in that Ford Bronco Jimmy's chassis. He's running the 4800 Brannick Motorsports Legends class. So he's got a good race under his belt today. So Cade Rod is going out without his co-driver for his 6th and final. He is our physical race leader and on corrected time, but he said it is extremely slick out there. Dwayne Garrettson heading out on his 5th lap. So the rain is starting to lighten up. It's just a barely sprinkle right now. The clouds are still out, but I think we're in a pretty good pocket. So if, I know the 4400 guys are hoping this just knocks down the dust. I can already see some steam starting to come off the road. So if this could be absolutely perfect for the next class, if it plays out the way it is right now. Dave Schneider in that Trent Fab machine. Thumbs up, heading out. That is our race leader in the 4500 U. So we're still waiting to see Jeremy Jones and Chris May, Casey Gilbert. Dwayne Garrison just went out for the 4800 Brannick Motorsports class. So who's going to be physically in second? Is it going to be Jeremy Jones or Chris May? Casey Gilbert's a ways back, but he could do it. Anything can happen. That was interesting strategy by Cade Rod, kicking out his co-driver at the hot pits. Is he going for weight or what's going on there? Because I think if it's just getting muddy out there, don't you want him in there just in case you have to winch? Interesting strategy. Hopefully we get a good chat with him later. I'm going to give our sponsors a little bit of love once again. Nitto, Can-Am, Warren, King Shams Oil, EFI, Boxo Tools, Yukon Gear and Axle, The Fab School, PCI Race Radios, Laser Nut, Steal It, MBRP, Off the Grid Clothing, ARB, Rigid Lights, VP Racing, Brannick Motorsports, PRP, Speed Straps, Factor 55, Action Sports Canopy, Squatch Box, last but certainly not least, Savvy Off-Road. Without those guys, we would not be racing today. We would not be having a live show. Support who supports the sport. There still isn't much wind out there, but the rain has almost completely stopped. It's still just barely mist out here. So like I said, if it could shape up to be an amazing race course for this afternoon. Get rid of some of that dust, wash off a little of the dirt on the rocks back in the trails, but there'll be a couple mud holes to shake them up. I see some Rigid Lights coming through the woods. Moving pretty slow. That is 890 Jonathan Terhune still moving around, and they're hoping to race that one in next race with Nate Jesse behind the wheel. Nate Jesse has a bomber chassis, but he blew the motor a couple weeks ago and just did not have enough time to get a motor put back together for this race. So bummer for Nate Jesse, but cool for Team Indiana for putting him in a car. As long as there's still a car after this race. So Cade Rod is the only one out on his 6th and final lap. Well, I guess I take that back because John Schaefer's out on his 4th and final lap in the stock class. There's a great shot of Dave Schneider out in the woods. Nope, I was mistaken. That is Jeremy Jones, physical 2nd place. And you can tell their pace has slowed down a lot. It must be extremely slick out there. Jeremy Jones has a right rear flat also. So like I said, they're sliding on those off-camber hills and catching those rock edges that they were keeping off of earlier. So this afternoon, we'll see what happens, but it's going to be a tire-killing afternoon. Be sure to tune in this afternoon. 3:30 is when we're going to try to start the 4400 Nitto Unlimited class. So we're about 45 minutes away from sending those guys out, but we still have to finish this race. The 2024 Wheel Parts Teardown in Tennessee. This is the 4600 Spider Track stock class, the 4500 Yukon Gear and Axle modified class, and the 4800 Brannick Motorsports Legends class. Sorry, I stuttered a little bit there. I see Chris May coming out. All 4 tires up, so 7.25 is only 2 to 3 minutes behind Jeremy Jones, and Jeremy's going to have to pull into the hot pit and change a tire. So can Chris May catch him? Time will tell. There's a great shot of our short course down there with Jeremy Jones and that Trent Fab machine. Remember, he's got a right rear flat, so he'll be coming in the Progressive Insurance hot pits here shortly. And Chris May's trying to chase him down. Chris May started roughly 3 to 4 minutes in front of Jeremy Jones, so Chris May has to beat him. He's got to not only pass him, but beat him by 3 to 4 minutes. So Jeremy Jones, but there's not a lot of passing out in the woods, so Jeremy Jones still needs this quick pit. See Jonathan Terhune coming at me, Team Indiana, and I think the rain has officially stopped. Getting a little toot-toot, big thumbs up, drops the visor. Jonathan Terhune heading out for another lap. We will close the start line as soon as Cade Rod or whoever finishes first. Getting a little chatter through my PCI race radio. Mike DeVore, number 8100's rolled over and has a link tab ripped off. So tough break for Mike DeVore. So Jeremy Jones is in the hot pit changing that tire. I see Chris May coming. I think he's just passed his pits. So it looks like Chris May's going to get around Jeremy Jones. Remember, this race is not physical finish. It is on corrected time. So Chris May is around, so it's going to be down to the wire. Is it going to be Chris May or Jeremy Jones filling out second and third? Chris May's all over the throttle. 725 May Motorsports. Chris May, physical second. How long is it going to be before Jeremy Jones comes out of the pits? Because remember, I think it's a 3 or 4 minute split between those two. Evan Sherman and that Jimmy's chassis coming through. They're missing a spare, so they changed one out on course. So Jeremy Jones, not a super fast pit yet, but we'll see. The Trent Fab team's going fast, so it was quick enough. Only took him about 2 minutes to change a tire, but now he's got about I'm going to say right around a minute and a half behind Chris May now. So on corrected time, I think Jeremy Jones still is in second, but physically it's looking good. Big thumbs up. Jeremy Jones chasing down Chris May out in the woods. So we'll see how this plays out. That's going to be a fun one to watch because Cade Rod is way out front, so the race is for second place on corrected time between Jeremy Jones and Chris May. Jeremy Jones has been in front of Chris May this entire race, except for when they started, obviously. So it's going to be down to this race. Who's going to push harder without making a mistake? For the Ultra4 first round on us came up with Dave Cole and Ryan Thomas. So if you've never raced with Ultra4 this season, I think they're going to continue it for a while. We will waive your entry fee for your first race just to kind of give you the taste and try to get if you use the promo code TEARDOWN20, all capital, teardown 20. You get 20% off this entire weekend. And as soon as Roxy gets home next week, she'll ship it out to you. So save yourself $20 or 20%, sorry, and get a hoodie, get a hat that we sell the Ultra4 mask. So get on there, save yourself some money, do a little Christmas down 20 for the promo code. So we have Donnie Caleb back. He's was struggling a little bit with some drivability, but it looks like he's going. It doesn't sound like it's missing as bad. He never really opened it up. Sounds like he's shifting a transfer case, so it did rev, so it does like it's running better. So whatever they did, they got something figured out. Hopefully it doesn't come back on this last lap. Him and Chris May is going to be close. Oh, I know. So the 4800 Brand Motorsports Legends class up front is K-Rod all day, and then it's going to be between Jeremy Jones and Chris May. It's going to be on corrected time, and it's going to be down to the finish line. Chris May has to finish in 3 to 4, or he has to beat Jeremy Jones by 3 to 4 minutes because it was 30-second increments. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I think it's 4.5 minutes, if I'm doing my math correct, that has to beat Jeremy Jones. So that's quite a bit, but he's not chasing his dust back in the woods. So how hard does either one of them push? You know, the rabbit or the hare? It's going to be anybody's race. But it looks like as long as K-Rod can come through. But hey, this is racing. K-Rod could break something. He could pop another tire. Who knows? But I'm expecting to see K-Rod coming through here pretty soon. K-Rod is still out front, and Chris May and Jeremy Jones are battling it out. That means if they're physically battling it out, that means on corrected time it is Jeremy Jones in second position on corrected time as of now. But they still have 3 to 4 miles to go out in the woods. So it sounds like Dave Schneider's the leader in the 4500. Yukon Gear and Axle modified class is Dave Schneider out front. John Schaefer for the 4600 Spider Track stock class, and the last is Donnie Callan. The 1-2 Donnie Callan back in the 4600 Spider Track stock class. So the rain has completely stopped out there, and it's just a little bit of wet on top of this really sandy dirt. So I think it's going to turn into an amazing racetrack here for the 4400 Nitto Unlimited race cars. They'll be a little muddy out in the woods. It may be a little slick, but they'll knock that off on the first couple laps, I'm sure. But I think it's going to be a lot of tires out there, so you got to drive fast but smart. Remember, there's a lot of off-camber stuff that's going to throw you into some of those tree stumps or trees or rocks. So I think it's going to be the smart guy, not necessarily the fastest guy, that's going to win this afternoon's race. And some of the woods guys, you heard Lauren Healy earlier today. He's on my same page. That Josh Blyler, Eric Miller, Derek West, those are going to be the three of the fastest woods we have. Healy, Horschel, Levi Shirley, and a long list of others. So we'll have Ryan Thomas down at the finish line, at the Four Wheel Parts finish line, waiting on K-Rod, which could be just a few minutes away. Schneider, Mays, Jones, nose to tail. So Schneider's in the lead of the 4500 Yukon Gear and Axle modified class. And if Jeremy Jones is on Chris May. And so let me think there. So, yeah, so Dave Schneider's maybe slowing up Chris May so that way Jeremy Jones catches him. So Jeremy Jones is sitting comfortable because there's not a lot of passing out there. Is Schneider going to pull over? I doubt it. Even though they're in separate classes, he's still racing his own race. I hear somebody coming through the woods. I'm waiting for a visual. Could it? No, this is not K-Rod. This is Jesse Oliver, I believe. Yes, confirmed. Oliver Racing coming through, so that would put him physically in second position for the 4,500 Yukon Gear and Axle class. 45-17, Jesse Oliver. And not far behind him is 48-78. That's Richard White, I believe. Yes, that was Richard White and his Jimmy's chassis, running the 4800 Brannick Motorsports Legends class. I'm going to say we're in the mid-80s right now. It cooled down just enough. It's extremely comfortable. We got that little rain that wasn't that big a deal other than it made it slick back in the rocks. So it'll make for an interesting race course this afternoon, but the dust was almost unbearable. It was terrible here at the start-finish, and that's down to almost nothing. But once these 40-inch Nittos start tearing it up at this next class, it'll get dusty pretty quick. I'm hearing some back in the woods. We should see somebody here in about 30 seconds. There's still a lot of cars out on course. We started with 26, but I think we're probably down to about half of them moving. So that's Sean Rance Sr. coming through. I should see him shortly. I can see that Ford Bronco front grille coming through. Sean Rance Sr. He'll be chasing down Dave Schneider and Jesse Oliver. So right now, I believe in the 4,500 Yukon Gear and Axle Modified class, up front is Dave Schneider, Jesse Oliver, and then Sean Rance Sr., if my memory is correct. I'll check the tracker once we get a few more over the line. That was Richard White on screen. Here comes John Grounds. I heard he was broke, but look at him going again. Great to see him moving. I'll bet you he'll call it on this. He'll call this race because he's made more than half his laps, because I think he wants to qualify for the 2021 Nitto King of the Hammers powered by Optima Battery. So John Grounds will probably go back to the pit, do a good shakedown on that Daystar machine, and try to qualify for Hammers next year. But again, I'm just speculating. I'm not in the race car. So here comes Jesse Oliver. And then Richard White. Jesse Oliver was like, can I call it or not? I was like, no, we haven't closed it. Richard White heading back out for his last lap, because we should have the leader coming through here. And once the leader takes the checkered flags when we close the Nitto start arch. So Jesse Oliver, physical second place in the 4,500 class. Caden out front all day long. Is it going to be him? But don't forget, Chris May and Jeremy Jones have been battling out. So is Jeremy going to push Chris to make a mistake? Sounds like John Grounds is having some issues in the King Shock Chevron area. So this is our second race in the Ultra4 series. Our first was the 2020 Nitto King of the Hammers. And now we're here at the 4-Wheel Parts Teardown in Tennessee. Our next race will be the Laser Nut Rumble in Reno, setting everything up for the 2020 Nitto National Championship in Davis, Oklahoma at the Crossbar Ranch, followed by our award ceremony. Sean Rance Sr. getting ready to take off on his last lap, 45-31 Ford Bronco, Sean Rance Sr. So So if that's 896. I believe that's Brian Trimp. Yes, it is Brian Trimp with a right rear flat coming through the Can-Am corner. Pretty hot and really loose with that right rear flat. So he'll have to struggle through the King Shock Chevron also. He's not here. I don't know which one's worse or better. Hey, if you don't want to, you don't have to. You want to? So we got a couple old faces in here. We got Droopy and Kim Sears. I haven't seen you guys in a few years. What brings you out here?
Oh, man, we're only a couple hours away from here and saw all the old faces and a lot of new ones. We thought we'd come down and see what the fuss is all about. Man, we've had a blast today.
How bad have you missed it?
We missed it terribly, man. Kim was talking about the whole way here how bad she missed it.
But it's worth it to have little man here, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. So he only wants 3 different buggies and a dirt bike and a razor now. So
That's awesome. Well, Kim and Droopy, always a good time. You guys have raced with us since the beginning. We've missed you the last few years, but it's good to see you guys.
and it's good to be here. Good seeing you too, Miles.
Thank you.
Hey, Mason, you having fun out here, buddy?
Yeah.
Are you going to come back?
It's going way fast.
Are you going to make your mom and dad buy you something to race?
Better service.
For Christmas.
I like your Christmas list, buddy. Well, thanks, Kim and Droopy. Good seeing you guys. That's some fun faces to see. Haven't seen those guys for quite a while. So we're still waiting on either Cade Rod or Jeremy Jones or Chris May or Dave Schneider. We got a lot of heavy hitters out there still yet to come. As soon as one of those guys crosses the checkered flag, we will close the start line to get everything set up for the 4400 Nitto Unlimited class. It's been an awesome week of racing. We started out with qualifying yesterday afternoon, and then this morning, bright and early, we sent out the little tykes, little guys and gals. Out in the 170s, they ran 6 laps on the infield. That was a lot of fun, and that was one of the coolest drivers' meetings I've been to. Dave was just super cool to little kids, just explaining the simples of the flags and all that, and he ended up like, what are you guys out here to do? And one little kid jumped up, he said, have fun and stay safe, and Dave just all smiles, gave him a huge high five, and just walked off. Didn't have anything to add to it, and that's just what they had this morning, was a ton of fun. And then following that, we kicked off the big racing with the 4900 Can-Am Motorsports UTV class. And the top of the box, still unofficially, I believe, but pretty sure it's going to be locked down, as Jamie McCoy. Second place, Scott Lesage. Third place, James Cantrell in that 502 Mad Ram 11 machine. But Jamie McCoy with that Can-Am up on top of the box by, I'm guessing, but 15 to 20 minutes Jamie smoked the whole field by. And now we are hot and heavy towards the end of the four-wheel parts teardown in Tennessee for the 4800 Brannick Motorsports Legends class, the 4500 Yukon Gear and Axle Modified class, and last but certainly not least, the 4600 Spider Track Stock class. So you guys can do the same thing back at home. Go to ultra4racing.com. We have a link, and this is our live timer, so you can see their best time. The fastest time of this race is Cade Rod on his first lap with a 21:06 with a flat tire. And you can see he's out. He's finished lap 5 out on his 6th lap, as well as Jeremy Jones and Chris May. So 8:96. That's Brian Trimpt heading out on his last lap. So he's racing with us for his first time, and he's having a ball out there. So haven't seen come out either John and probably it's going to be Cade Rod. I hear somebody with some high horsepower. This is more than likely Cade Rod. I hear him. I still can't see him. And on screen, visually, I walked away for just a second. That is Casey Gilbert. I think he's a lap down, though. And he's got another right front flat. And again, strategically wise, if I was him, I would probably call it because he is Casey Ryan's going to run that same race car in the next race. So I'd probably come back to my pits, check all your fluids, change up to those 40-inch Nittos, and get ready for the 4400 race. But Casey Gilbert, this is his car, this is his race. Who knows what he'll do? Yes, Casey Gilbert is a lap down to our first 3, so we'll see what his game plan is. And I wonder if, you never know, did Cade Rod break out there? Did Chris May and Jeremy Jones take each other out? Who knows? So there's still a possibility of Casey Gilbert getting on that podium. But right now it looks like it's Cade Rod and either Jeremy Jones or Chris May. What an absolutely gorgeous day it is. There's still just a couple raindrops, but the rain has quit. It only rained for about 15 minutes, and only about 5 of that was hard. But it made the trail slick, it sounds like, but it knocked down that dust, which helped you guys at home to see and helps me to breathe. So I hear somebody. Are we going to get a camera on him, hopefully? There's Dwayne Garrettson. I believe he's a lap down also. Yep, so he's just behind Casey Gilbert. Casey Gilbert just crossed, so we'll see if he calls it or not. Dwayne Garrettson, all 4 tires holding up on that Ford Bronco. I am wrong. Right front flat for Dwayne Garrettson. Holy cow, there's some flat tires out there. And here is Cade Rod coming in for the win. Another right front flat and a left rear flat. There are flat tires everywhere on course. But Cade Rod is heading towards the King Shocks. Little speed bumps there. I'm kind of just watching him go through there with 2 flat tires. That's pretty tough. So Cade Rod, the ticker will start counting as soon as he crosses. Because remember, he started out in front. So on corrected time, there we go. Time will tell. But it looks like so as soon as Cade Rod crosses the 4-wheel parts finish line, we will close the start line. On screen, making a pass on Dwayne Garrettson. They're in the same class, but Dwayne's a lap down. So Cade Rod started in 2nd place and has owned this race all day long. So Casey Gilbert So Casey Gilbert barely sneaks through the start line before we go ahead and close it. So now we'll close the start line right behind Casey Gilbert. But Cade Rod unofficially just won this race.
Well, no one.
Casey Gilbert beat you by 20 seconds. So the start line is officially closed. So unofficially, congratulations has to go to Cade Rod for winning unofficially the 4800 Brannick Motorsports. Sorry, Ryan. He just won. So I see Cade Rod made it all the way up here to the start line with me with a right front flat and a left rear flat. We'll get him out of the car and have a good chat with him. Hey, Cade, you want to crawl out? We'll go up here? No, crawl out. Leave the car there. So Cade Rod battled all day long, started just behind Casey Gilbert, but he passed him pretty quick and just ran his own race. And we're supposed to be starting this next race in 20 minutes, but we're going to probably be just a little behind schedule. So as I'm walking up, you can see who's right behind me, but none other than Cade Rod. Unofficial first place finish in the 4800 Brannick Motorsports Legends class. You look a little rough, but how you feeling?
I'm hurting. That course was heinous that last lap. I thought you guys were going to cut it just because of time, and then whenever we went, it is slick. Just that little bit of water on top of everything turned it into a nightmare. I was bouncing off of trees. I was taking trees down. I knew that second place was coming up behind me. It was a fight for a minute or two, and then so I hit a tree. Tree turned the car off. It was just mayhem out there. I was just smashing everything that I could and trying to get out.
So here's second place coming. So May, so corrected time. He was behind you, I'm going to say 4 to 5 minutes, so it's going to be pretty close, but I think you got it. But it's going to be down to the wire. He made up a lot of time on that last lap. But, I mean, you came in with 2 flat tires. That car, like you said, the course was great when you started, and it turned pretty rough pretty quick, didn't it?
Yeah, like I said, the last lap, going up the first hill, I hit a tree, and it was not no small tree. It fell on the car, turned the car off, and then I had to mow down, like, full-size trees to get around. It was slick, and it was a nightmare, and the car was just getting hot in the seat. It was lighting me on fire. I didn't know what to do. It was a nightmare. But that being said, I blew probably 4 tires about a mile in today during the race, and the Vision wheel held up awesome the whole entire time and able to get me to the finish.
That's awesome. So give me a little bit of strategy. Why'd you kick your co-driver out on that last lap?
I didn't. He got out because the heat from the seats. He thought he was getting third-degree burns as well as I was. We stuck wet towels underneath us to try and keep it out, and he's like, nope, I can't do it. I got to get out.
So just from the exhaust or whatever?
Yeah, the exhaust runs right under the heat and under the seat, and then the way the links run, I can't really get a heat shield over it. I have to figure something out now, though, because I'm going to have blisters for a while.
I mean, yeah, because you were in that car for about an hour and a half running wide open with that exhaust just right under your ass. I mean, I'm glad you're okay, but you'll have to figure something out, but I'm sure you guys will there at Jimmy's Army. So good job. The car still looks good other than a couple flats, but like you said, wheels held up. Congratulations. Unofficial first. We'll see how it pans out.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Cade Rod. So it's going to be super close because it's 4 to 5 minutes splitting Jeremy Jones and Cade Rod. So it's going to be down to the wire. Originally, it looked like Cade Rod had it in the bag, but Jeremy Jones really turned it on that last lap. So we'll see how it plays out. So I see Kimberly and Hunter going to be super close for Tim Hooper. So it's going to be down to the wire. So I've got Jeremy Jones just pulled up here, and he's pointing at Cade Rod. Cade Rod's pointing at him. All high five smiles. They are super pumped to be here at the start finish line. It's going to be down to the wire. So let me do some quick math. So roughly 5.5 minutes if I'm doing my math. I got Derek Trent up here also. That's his guess too. So 5.5 minutes, that's going to be really close. I'm not sure who has that. So everything is absolutely unofficial, but it's going to be close. So we'll get a quick chat with Jeremy Jones here momentarily. He's getting his helmet off, getting his buckles off, and we'll have a quick chat with him. Like I said, this is absolutely unofficial because I think it was a 5.5 minute split, and it's going to be close. There's Kimberly Sparrow on the screen, and she's going to be cutting it close because we're supposed to be starting the big boys here in about 13 minutes, but I think we're going to be pushed off on time just because that rain came through and made that last lap a little longer than anticipated. But she's pushing hard, so she'll come in, switch cars, and Hunter will hop in his car, and Kimberly will hop in the passenger seat, and they'll go out for another 8 laps. It's going to be a long day for those guys.
The next race is supposed to start in 10 minutes. Right, you have 5.5. And I think you're like it's going to be close. What do you think?
Hopefully 5.5 seconds isn't going to cut it. Hopefully it's 5.5 minutes.
That's what I meant to say. I hope everybody else understood too. But yeah, 5.5 minutes, corrected time. It's going to be down to the wire.
Absolutely. Cade's a hell of a driver, and I mean, I'm surprised we're here. We just kind of kept trying to not kill tires and push through. And I'll tell you what, those Mickeys and those race lines just ate stuff up. They were tough.
So you were battling out with Chris May when you came through. You were in the pits changing tire. He passed you. How'd you get around him out in the woods?
I don't know where we passed him. I never saw him. I mean, he was in front of us, and then he wasn't, I guess. I thought he'd be sitting here. So. Yeah,
well, you haven't seen him through, so he must have had an issue and pulled off course. There he is. So he must have got stuck or had an issue, but here he is. So that probably will wind out the podium, but unofficially, first or second, it's going to be close.
Thank you very much. This was an incredible race. Good God, how rough. I've never been anything this rough or slick before, so I'm more of a desert racer. This isn't my gig, but hey, cool. If we get it, we get it. I'm very happy. Thank you very much.
You can't say this isn't your deal because a couple years you won the Nationals race there at the Wild West Motorsports Park.
Yes, I did, but I was just talking about woods racing. Man, this stuff is tough. I mean, you got to be just on your game to not kill your car. It's incredible. So I don't know how these East Coast racers do it. I think it's harder than the West Coast for sure, but it's incredible to do, and it's a lot of fun. So
it's definitely different. So I mean, just what a great day of racing. You guys battled for 6 laps and down to the wire. I don't know how you'd be feeling right now.
I feel like I went about 8 rounds with Tyson.
Well, congratulations. Jeremy Jones, good job, buddy.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks to my driver, Dan Young, Raceline Wheels, Mickey Thompson Tires, Wyotech, Trent Fab, Warren Winches, and everybody else who helped get me here. Thanks so much. All the group, my wife, my beautiful wife, I almost forgot about her. And Dan would probably like to thank Jess.
All the supporters, man, it's impossible to come out and do this without family support, without the wives being cool with it and coming out and being stoked for us to come and do it. You know, the sponsors make it possible. Like he said, Mickey and Raceline absolutely took a smash 4 or 5 times. I can't believe the beating they took. It was unreal. So bulletproof stuff. Trent builds an amazing car. I mean, it was a hell of a race. It was a ton of fun. The muffler, I think, is just about burned my butt to the seat, but we should be good to go. So I'll leave a couple layers somewhere, but it was good. It was a kick in the pants, man. It's so different from desert. It's tight. It got gritty starting lap 5. As we all know, it started to rain. It got slick, so slick. And there's some stuff you just have to absolutely rip up. You can't let up or you get stuck. So we skated across a bunch of stuff that normally we're used to just crawling back home. And it's a totally different realm out here. So it was fun.
Well, again, congratulations, Jeremy Jones. We'll see how it plays out. Thanks again, buddy.
Miles, thank you for the interview.
Thanks, Miles.
Yep, thank you.
So we should have Chris May crossing the finish line here shortly. Like I said, everything I say is unofficial. It's going to be down to the wire between Cade Rod and Jeremy Jones. But it looks like it should be rounding out the podium will be Chris May, so huge shout out to him.
I didn't realize the wire was back there, otherwise we would have timed it.
So, unofficially, I think it's 4 minutes and 38 seconds, so I think you guys snuck it by a minute. So, unofficially, I'm updating my live timing. Again, unofficially, it looks like Jeremy Jones might have snuck it out by 1 minute. So, we'll see. So it looks like unofficially it could be Jeremy Jones, but still unofficial. It'll be close. We'll see what happens. So we're starting to line out the 4,400 big guys. I see Levi Shirley getting lined up. Looks like Chris May is pulling up, but Chris May started in front of. He definitely started up front, so that will put him in that 3rd position. So unofficially, it looks like it could be Jeremy Jones, then Cade Rod, then Chris May. But regardless, what a great run by all 3 of those guys. So I just found Chris May, part of Team Indiana, number 725, May Motorsports. Chris May unofficially looks like he's going to round out the podium. One hell of a race. How was it, buddy? You look a little dirty.
Oh, man, everything was obviously tires, just absolutely tire getters everywhere. And then we settled in about lap 5, the rain started. And, man, I ain't going to lie to you, I crested a hill, hit the brakes, off the side of the mountain we got. Four-wheel drive, got the ass end down, had to winch up out of the woods. And then on the second lap, I did the same thing again. So I feel like we had second. Dave Schneider and I battled back and forth, but it's fun to be in the 4800 class. It's a good race.
Yeah, this is your debut in the 4800 class. You've been racing with us for a very long time, but it just comes to competition that how much money do you want to spend? So you decided to put those big single King shocks on the four corners, and it looked like out of the box you did pretty good.
Yeah, they're them shocks are untuned, and yeah, my car was 7 years old. Dropping down just made sense. I love competing with the best names out there, but there's some badasses in 4800, and it was the right move for me and my team.
And now you're one of them. So congratulations for hopefully rounding out the podium, like I said, unofficially. And it looks like Jeremy Jones may have snuck out the win. It's going to be down to the wire. We'll see. But it could be Jeremy Jones, Cade Rod, and Chris May. So do you have anybody you want to thank?
Oh, I got to thank my wife and daughter here. And, family event. We raced the kids race earlier. And I love watching my daughter race, family come. It's just a good time. And Team Indiana, my pit crew. So Barnes four-wheel drive and Maxxis tires. I mean, awesome weekend.
Yeah, and again, thank you for helping put on that kids race this morning. That was kind of a last-minute thing, and boy, it was a lot of fun. Those kids had a great time, and I was talking about it earlier. That was probably the funnest drivers meeting I've ever been to because they just are just all cute and not sure, pointing out red, green, yellow. Dave's explaining it, and they just want to have fun and be safe all at the same time. So thanks again for helping putting that on.
Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, the kids, I love seeing the kids grow, and they'll learn 170 race.
That'd be cool. Again, congratulations, Chris May. Unofficially third place. So we're just trying to wrap up the 2020 four-wheel parts teardown in Tennessee limited classes. We still have a lot of cars on course. We were supposed to go hot with the 4400s in 3 minutes. That will absolutely not happen. We need to make sure the course is clear, make sure it's safe, because there's a lot of broken down cars out there. There's a lot of cars to recover. So we got a little bit of time ahead of us. So I see a lot of heavy hitters pulling up. The current king, Josh Blyler, number 41, Nitto athlete. The pole this guy. We'll see how it plays. Josh Blyler, all smiles. So you got a great smile. I saw you driving up the line, giving everybody a big thumbs up. You are our current king. You just set your first pole ever, if I'm not mistaken. You're going to be up front. It rained a little bit, less dusty. It's slick out there. How you feeling right now, buddy?
I feel good, Miles. It's not really where I'd like to start this race, but it's where we're at. But corrected time's a big thing. I've won a lot of races because of corrected time, and we're at a horrible place to take advantage of that. So we'll just try to run it smooth. I think we got to keep the tires under it. The underclass had a tremendous amount of blown tires, so I think that's the trick of this race, keeping the tires under it, and I think whoever can do it without blowing tires is going to win this race.
Yeah, I mean, you saw, just like I saw, that the progressive hot pits were busy. So does that throw your strategy off a little bit, or you still just going to play smooth and consistent? Because you are Mr. Smooth and Consistent, except for that last little turn it back door sometimes.
Yeah, we try to forget about that, but yeah, just run our pace, be nice and smooth. I'm sure we're going to get blown around here and get passed by a couple of really fast guys, but we'll just stick with the plan. Just keep it together and see how it shakes out.
So you got those 7 extra points for being the pole setter, so that helps out there. But now you got all these big guys breathing down your neck, pushing you. Does that make you a little nervous?
We're just having fun, really. It's just try to forget about all that. You always get the pre-race jitters and butterflies, but it's what makes it fun. And once we don't get the butterflies anymore, we'll just call it quits. So we're really enjoying it, and we'll just go out and have fun.
All right, I'm going to let you kind of get in your little zone, but thanks for chatting with me, Josh. Good luck, buddy.
Thanks, Miles.
So on screen, I believe that's Richard White just getting his checkered flag. We got Pam out there waving the checkered flag for us. She's been helping out all weekend long with timing, with check-in. So thank you to all of our volunteers. If you see any of those guys, give them a big old high five because they do this for nothing to come out here to help you guys race. And a huge shout out to the Adventure Off-Road Park. I'm hearing lots of chatter through my PCI race radio. We will not cut this race short. We are going to race 8 full laps. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. And there's chance of rain again. We'll see. But we have Josh Blyler, Bailey Cole. So the lineup looks like it's Blyler, Bailey Cole, Levi, Andy Willems, Paul Campbell, and a lot of more heavy hitters, and a few that still haven't came up yet. So I apologize. We will be delaying the start of the 4400 Nitto Unlimited class just due to race conditions. The last race took a little longer than anticipated, but we will be racing hopefully in the next 15 to 20 minutes. We still have a few guys out there still battling for their positions. There's Jesse Oliver going for a podium spot, and I haven't seen Dave Schneider. I was kind of busy doing my interviews and whatnot, so could Jesse Oliver possibly be winning this 4,500 Yukon Gear and Axle? So John Schaefer and Donnie Collenbeck, are 1 and 2 in the 4600 Spider Track stock classes, if I'm not mistaken. And then also the 4500 Yukon Gear and Axle modified class. Is it going to be Jesse Oliver or Dave Schneider on the top of the box? I am not sure. So it looks like there's another cell that's on top of us that's breaking up as we speak, and then we have some clear sky. I just checked the radar. So I thought we were going to get another shower, but it looks like we may get lucky and miss it. And I know all these racers are hoping to miss it. Well, not all, but most. And we still have Casey Gilbert out in the woods. They have to still switch to the 40s and put fuel in it, so it's going to be close for Casey Gilbert to get back to hand it off to Casey Ryan. So we have a stacked class coming up. Pole setter, current king Josh Blyler up front in that Miller Motorsports chassis. Right behind him is going to be Eric Miller, Mr. Miller Motorsports himself. Behind him is Bailey Cole, the fastest IFS machine in qualifying, followed closely by Levi Shirley, then Derek West, Zandy Willems, Paul Horschel, Wayland Campbell, Shannon Campbell, Cody Hardesty, Jeff McCullough, Lauren Healy, Tad Dowker, Brian McVeigh, Tim Hooper, Brian Reed, Chad Owens, Rusty Blyler, Bailey Campbell, Casey Ryan, Hunter Sparrow, Nate J.